Mondays with the Mako. We are back with you guys, wrapping group 2 up. Excited to bring Greg into the mix today. He's got a lot for us, a lot of great insight. Greg is somebody that I completely believe in. He's a mentor, a friend, somebody that took me under his wing early on at Infusionsoft and showed me the ropes, helped educate me and guide me. We worked together to help a friend of his come into the business. He's still working with me on a daily basis. Greg has left and started his own business, Monkeypod Marketing, and I want to share him to this community and what he's learned, what he's gathered, what he's doing. He's got a really cool 5-lesson series that he's going to offer to you guys when we're done. And Greg, thanks, brother, for everything you've done for me, for others, and for spending your Mondays with the Mako.
Thanks, Shark, and thank you for wearing the shirt, man. I appreciate that. I love what I'm doing now, and I'm really excited to contribute to what you've got going on as well. So let's get started.
All right, yeah, let's jump in, brother. Tell me a little bit about your background. And one of the reasons I dig Greg big time is he's a Michigan guy. He went to Michigan State, but grew up or has roots in Ann Arbor, so we connected that way. Tell us a little bit about your background, Greg. I know you're an athlete too, water polo guy.
Yeah. So I grew up in Ann Arbor, as you indicated. I grew up in a small business family. My dad ran a small business that he started, and he and my brother went to U of M, but I was kind of the black sheep, and I went to Michigan State. So I don't hate U of M the way a lot of Spartans do. I got some roots there, as you indicated. And yeah, I started playing water polo in high school, and it came really naturally to me. I had some success there, and I thought I retired after high school because I didn't decide to go play in college. I had a couple offers, and I decided to stay local in Michigan. So I thought, you know what, I'm done with water polo. And after like a month at Michigan State, I found myself going to the pool every day just to stay in shape. So I figured, all right, I may as well play water polo here too. And I joined the club team and played 4 years at Michigan State, and again, had a little bit of success there.
Awesome, Greg. Tell the audience quickly a little bit about your role at Infusionsoft. You had a few of them. You were educating, teaching, helping consult and implement the software for people.
Yeah, so when I got hired at Infusionsoft, as you indicated, that's where you and I met. I had a background coaching water polo, and I had been running a small business in Lansing, Michigan with a friend of mine. And so the job I got hired to do was coaching small business owners, and it totally was a natural fit for me. Even though I didn't see myself working in the software world, the specific position was working with entrepreneurs, which was something I loved doing, and coaching people, which is something I loved doing. So it ended up being a natural fit. Can you hear me, Jared?
Yeah, I sure can, Greg.
Okay, so it ended up being a natural fit, and I progressed through a couple of different roles, and I went from coaching one-on-one to teaching Infusionsoft University and doing the live training events and traveling around and helping people all over the world that way. So that was pretty fun too.
What did you learn at Infusionsoft that helped prepare you for launching Monkeypod?
Oh man,
you work with so many small business owners, Greg. Tell us a little bit.
Infusionsoft is it's a really unique organization with exposure to thousands and thousands of small businesses, and the employees there, especially the customer-facing ones, as you know, are really fortunate because we get to talk with some of the most passionate people on the planet, entrepreneurs, and we get to dig into what drives them, why they started their company, what they're reaching for as far as results or growth or personal goals. And we get to help them meet those. And so through the different roles that I was in, I got to work with a lot of different people, and you can't help but collect skills and knowledge and information along the way. I would say that conservatively, I learned 10 or 15 times more from a small business education standpoint during my time at Infusionsoft than I learned actually running my own business or getting my business degree at Michigan State. So it was instrumental in my personal and professional development, and I think that it was kind of like a crash course in the small business space for me, for sure.
Outstanding. Tell me a little bit about what you're passionate about. Well, you know what? Hold on. I've been actually reading a book, Talk Like Ted, and they say actually not what you're passionate about. What makes your heart sing, Greg?
Well, to me, those are, you're just mincing words. It sounds like one, 6 to 1 1/2 dozen of the other, but I appreciate what you're going for. I think the word passion kind of gets played out these days, right? You see it in a lot of resumes and cover letters, and I'm a passionate this or that. But as far as the actual true and meaningful definition of the word, my passion is education. It's as simple as that. And it took me a while to identify it because education shows up in so many different ways, in so many different forms. And it's not just teaching people, it's the process of education. I love learning just as much as I love teaching. But for me, it's that moment where a light bulb goes on and somebody understands something new. Whether that's me or somebody that I'm working with or a room full of people that I'm teaching, right? I love being able to connect those dots and provide that experience or that clarity that comes along with putting things together, right? Arriving at a new level of perspective.
How did you know that's what your passion was, or that's what made your heart sing?
Well, yeah, I mean, at a really young age, at like 14, 15, 16 years old, I had several people tell me, Greg, you're going to be a teacher, right? And it was my girlfriend's mom, my parents' friends, my actual teachers. People just insisted, Greg, you're going to be a teacher. And I really resisted that because I knew I was drawn to the business space. I said, I'm not going to be a teacher. I really want to do something in business. And, fight as I might, I ended up coaching water polo, and coaching is just another form of teaching, right? And so it just shows up in different ways. If you're really good at something, if you're drawn to something, if you're passionate about something, to use that word again, I feel like you're going to find an outlet for it. And for me, it manifested in, coaching entrepreneurs at Infusionsoft or teaching in Infusionsoft University. And I knew when I started Monkeypod, I knew that education was going to be the foundation of whatever I did.
Beautiful, Greg. You are the professor. Awesome. Tell me this. Tell me, when did you start Monkeypod, and what do? You do a few things there. Let's learn about Monkeypod a little bit.
Sure, man. So Monkeypod Marketing is my business that I founded in May of 2015 to educate and empower entrepreneurs. And we do that through pretty much two methods, virtual courses and then live classes, so live events. And I freaking dig it, right? It's just me right now. It's just Greg Jenkins. So I get to interact with all of my customers. I've got a small little membership group that I'm building up that I get to interact with them on a daily basis in live settings. But the virtual courses are really powerful because it allows me to bottle up one piece or one segment or one nugget and then package it up for people, and then I can move on to the next. So by creating these virtual courses that entrepreneurs can consume on demand and on their own, what it allows me to do is broaden my footprint, because instead of teaching someone one-to-one where I run out of time, there's only so many hours in the day, this allows me to put things out there that people can consume at their own rate, and hopefully it'll give me the capacity to have a broader impact.
Yeah, it's tremendous. Education, provide value, build trust, grow your list. Yeah.
It's not so much about the grow your list piece to me. I think that's it's probably going. I hope that happens, but that's never been my objective. My objective is to help as many people as possible and to put a lot of value out there. And I know it's not a sound business policy, but my thought is if I put enough value out there, it's going to come back to me in some way as well. And that's kind of where I'm at right now is helping wherever I can and contributing wherever I can. And my goal is that it'll help position the way people think about Monkeypod Marketing.
No, that's tremendous. That altruistic type model, Greg, is where it's at, brother. Awesome.
Thanks.
Bless you for that. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the first 90 days or maybe the first 120. You were probably feeling pretty experienced, ready to go, as many as, most of our entrepreneurs that we interact with probably, had a interesting 90 to 120, but you had a lot of experience, a lot of insight. You were ready to go, I think, or maybe you weren't. Tell us about the first couple months.
Yeah, man. So it's interesting. When I look back on it, I ran a small business. I have a business degree from college. I worked at Infusionsoft where I had the luxury of watching hundreds, but probably thousands of entrepreneurs start and grow and succeed or not succeed. And I learned a lot along the way, right? And so when I decided to leave and start Monkeypod, you could argue, and this sounds egotistical, but I was as prepared as anyone is who starts a business, right? I had a background, I had a realistic understanding, I had a intimate knowledge of marketing automation. I thought that I would just kind of take off and accomplish the things that I set out to do. But what I learned in the first 90 days is it doesn't matter what your plans are. You can't control all the variables. And that was really hard for me to let go of some of that because I had a very specific trajectory that I thought I was on. I had actually lined up, and while I was starting or deciding to leave, I put together a few events. And so I kind of refer to them as lily pads. I had a couple different lily pads, and I thought I would jump from one to the next, and that's how I would get started, and I would build my business underneath it. I thought I'll get these events going, and then I'll start creating virtual courses. And the first 90 days, nothing went as planned. As soon as I left Infusionsoft, all 3 of those lily pads dissipated or disappeared, and I was terrified. It was really, really uncomfortable to say, wow, I just left my salary. I just left my health insurance. I thought I had this plan. I'm a smart dude. I thought I had done my due diligence, and to have it fall apart, right through my fingers, was really humbling because it just showed me how little control I actually had for some of those things. And so I pivoted and I went right back to the drawing board, and I said, all right, well, what do I control? If it's not events, because I rely on other people, what am I in charge of? And for me, the answer was courses, right? I couldn't do events on my own because I needed a partner who had a network or a community, but I could do courses. I could create the content myself. I could record it, I could edit it, and I could host it, and then I could sell that. I knew it may not give me everything I need, but at least I could pay my utility bills, right? I could put together some courses to have a foundation so that I could cover my rent or what have you, the various, baseline things that you need to go from one month to the next. And so that was my big shift, was in the first 90 days, I went from events and courses to courses, and then events are kind of on the back burner. Things have stabilized a little bit, and I've got some good traction on the courses I have created, and in 2016, I'll definitely start hosting some of my own events. But it was interesting how I thought that would be my breadwinner, and it has totally taken a back seat simply because I wasn't in control, and the ability to not having the ability to impact all the variables, I found was a big part of why things were falling apart.
There's a lot of power there, G, in that statement. I mean, you talked a lot about going back to your passion, going back to the professor. And then you talked a lot about what you can control. I think there's a lot there for people. Well, yeah. I got some gold nuggets there.
Let me add something, Jared.
Yeah.
I think that sentiment, what you just described and what I was talking about, I think that's really key for entrepreneurs, is to recognize that you don't have control of everything, right? And that's okay. But if you're in a really tough spot, you need to know what all the variables are. And for me, in some of those partnerships I was relying on, they're still friends of mine. They're good people, but they overextended themselves, or things just didn't pan out the way that they hoped either. So I think it's really important as an entrepreneur, if you're getting started, to recognize that some things you're in complete control of and other things you aren't. And just identifying where those boundaries are can really help you as far as prioritizing where you're going to go.
Yeah, well said. And then, further, learning how to let go, right? And I want to come back right into that, though, G, because you went through it. You were strong. You were a rock. You were a lighthouse, if you will. How do people stay with it when it's challenging, when maybe the first 90 days don't go so well, or maybe it's that 365th days not so hot? What do we do there? How do we stand strong?
Yeah, it's hard, right? And I think that the type of person who becomes an entrepreneur isn't generally very easily shaken, right? If you have the wherewithal and the foresight and the courage to start a business, then you're probably the type of person who is comfortable, or more comfortable than most, under those circumstances. But even having said that, I was scared and it was hard. And of course I questioned, was I doing the right thing? And why did I, is this going to pan out? And it was tough. So I think that, my recommendation there is to celebrate the micro win. Allow yourself to acknowledge and celebrate and enjoy those small incremental victories. For me, it was like, June 26th, the day my very first online order came in. It was the first time somebody navigated to my website, saw something that they wanted, it resonated with them, and they bought it, and I got an email notification on my phone, and I said, oh my God, this could work. Like, this could actually happen. And it's those types of things, right? I think it was $100 or something like that. But to celebrate those little incremental victories and allow yourself to recognize that you're growing, even if it's small, I think that's what really keeps you going.
Wow, I have goosebumps on my arm, and
it was big. It was big for me. Thanks.
Gee, and I mean, Peter talked about it last week when we were talking about the fitness piece.
Yeah.
Celebrate the small wins, and guys, that's it. That's awesome. I have 2 more questions. I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
How is San Diego? Beautiful San Diego. What have you been up to in San Diego?
Man, San Diego's great. I get up most days and I put on a tank top without even looking outside. I love it. It's a genuine destination town, and it blows my mind that I live here because people vacation here, and it's beautiful. I think a big part of why I moved here was because my girlfriend's in a PhD program here, so I love being closer to her. I love that I work from home with my dog, and I can walk him twice a day. So I've got a pretty good life going right now. My family's back in the Midwest. I got a lot of friends in Phoenix, so I miss being a part of those networks. But San Diego's working out just fine.
Well, we miss you, G. We miss having you around. I'm gonna come and see you guys soon. I've got my half brother up the coast in Encinitas, so I'll definitely come out and see you soon. Let's do the Super Bowl prediction real quick. I've got the shades on. It's time to go, brother. Let's give you guys though a shot at our calendar, because most of the community knows that I shoot on Saturday or Sunday for Monday. So what do you got?
So today is Saturday, the 23rd. Can you see that?
Yeah, we got it. All right, G. What do you got for your prediction? Who do you like? Give me a Super Bowl winner.
Okay, you may not know this about me, Jer, but Larry Fitzgerald is kind of my homeboy. So he and I are, I don't want to say we're best friends, but I did sit next to his personal chef on a flight one time. So I have a little bit of it. No, I like the Cardinals. Obviously I got some Arizona roots, a lot of friends there. But I would love to see Larry Fitzgerald get a ring, man. He's been such a contributor, such an athlete in this league for such a long time. I'd love to see him go out on top, or at least get one before he goes out,
Excellent. I think you're not alone there, Greg. And brother, thank you for your teaching, your education, a ton of insight in this one. This is a great content, great video. You are the professor. Have an excellent weekend in beautiful San Diego. Go Cardinals.
Hold on, Jared. So
yeah.
We mentioned this.
The lessons. Nice.
That's all right. So I want to encourage anyone who's interested in what I've learned from my time in the marketing automation space to go to www.monkeypodmarketing.com. And then it's just /5 lessons. Okay, the number 5, the word lessons. And you do need the www. It's a lead pages thing. So www.monkeypodmarketing.com /5 lessons. And it's really a consolidation of 5 of the biggest lessons I learned while teaching and coaching entrepreneurs. It's not specific to Infusionsoft. It's not technical, okay? So anyone who's in the small business space or wants to be, these lessons I really feel like can give you kind of an insight of what thousands of hours of coaching condensed looks like.
Gee, what a gift. I'll make sure I post that in the content in the message. Yeah, and thank you, brother. You're the man.
Hey, thanks for doing this, Jared. Thanks for all you're doing for your audience, and thanks for letting me be a part of it.
Thank you, Greg. Bless you. I'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Peace.